Hello, Bill, if you're there. I'm a little late getting started here. I've been waiting for some rain to pass over. According to the radar, there was quite a bit of rain on the way, a band of rain, but it seems it's pretty much gone by, and we just got a few drops, so I'm going to give this a go. We have one small problem tonight in that we have tremendous numbers of June bugs on the moss sheet. But we shall make the best of it. Let's dive right in here, see what we have. Besides June, lots of June bugs. There's one right here, a beetle. It looks like an aquatic beetle of some kind. It's not a June bug. Let's start off with this moth right here. Got a beetle going up his bum. Now he's going over top of a June bug. That is a four-spotted gluphisia. Hi, Ginger. Thanks for joining us. This is one we saw last night quite a few times. I couldn't remember the name. Eventually it came to me. It's powdered bigwing. Hi, Bill. Tie a string to the June bug's legs and fly them like a kite. Oh my God. Never heard of that one before. That's funny. I had such phobia about June bugs until the last few years. I've worked hard on sort of controlling my mind, and I've overcome my fear of June bugs. And lots of other insects I was always afraid of. Oh, here's a nice carrion beetle down here. That's a powdered bigwing, the moth. And the beetle, I think they're called sexton beetles. They're in the genus Nicrophorus. And one thing I know about this genus is that they often have mites attached to their backs. I don't see any on this one, but many of them have mites. And also, they can give off, as a defensive mechanism, they give off a terrible odor. So I always know when they're around. I hear some American toads calling in the background. These Nicrophorus beetles can quite easily be identified by the pattern of the orange markings on the elytra. The elytra are sort of the hard coverings over top of their wings. So their wings are folded underneath the elytra. They have to lift the elytra to release their wings. And they all have the same type of antenna. All the Nicrophorus here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. interesting appendages on their legs as well. I don't see any mites on this one. Almost always these Microforest beetles have mites on their back. Oh, June bug in my ear. 4 or 5 years ago, I would have run off screaming to the house. This is a caddisfly. Let me zoom back out again, if I can here. Sorry. Oh, I think the problem is my other finger is. Yeah, just fly, maybe the same species we looked at last night. They're kind of a difficult group to identify. They don't have much in the way of markings. Ginger, yes, I'm using the iPad. Same setup I had last night. The iPad and a ring light, just a cheap ring light I bought at a dollar store. Turned up to maximum power. And both the iPad and the ring light are plugged into a power bank that I have in my shirt pocket. All right, let's look around. There's a pug moth. We saw a pug moth last night. Pug moth is a group of moths that are all shaped the same. Hold their wings out straight like this. Rather narrow wings. Epitheka is the genus that pug moths are in, and there's about 40 species in New Brunswick. They're kind of a difficult group. Most of them, there's another one down here. I don't know if this is the same species or not. But they have a distinctive silhouette, distinctive shape. Always hold their wings like that. Here's another one right here. Another pug moth. This one has a bit of orange on the wings, a couple of dark bands. Looks like one of the pug moths that feed on pine. That could be the same species there too. Let's see what this one is. It looks pretty worn. Not sure. It's a very worn moth. Surprising to see a moth so worn this early in the season, unless it's one that overwintered as an adult. Could be, maybe it's a forage looper. It's our Microforest beetle again. And a looper. Got June bugs on my neck. Ugh. That's an interesting moth there. I don't know the name, but I recognize the pattern on it. It's one I could identify easily if I take a screen grab from this. Here's a ground beetle up here. Family Carabidae. Smaller beetles. Sorry. I need a third hand. There's a fly that I don't recognize what kind of a fly it is. I zoomed in to take a look at a beetle. There it is. So many species of beetles. All right, zoom out again. Take a look around the sheet. Look at you. Go over, try this side of the sheet. That's a common Gluphisia. Hi, Alyssa. Nice to see you. What a surprise. I hope Liam's gone to bed because I don't think he would enjoy this. This is a gray-banded, I think it's called gray-banded leaf roller. It's a micro moth. Argyrotania is the genus that it's in. Yes, Liam is in bed. Good. Okay. This is, I think this is, what's it called? Littner's Gluphisia. Gluphisia littneri. It's kind of an uncommon species. Usually only found April and May here. The big June bug. This is gosh, it's one of the common ones that we saw last night. What's it called? Mottled gray carpet is the common name for this. Mottled gray carpet moth. There's an arched hook tip up here on ultraviolet light. This one we saw last night as well. It's from the side. From on top, see the reflection of my ring light. On the other side. Arched hook tip. Let's do a quick check on the shingles here. June bugs. There's a moth there. This is the brother moth. It's a very common moth here. Brother, like sister, brother moth. There's a red cross shield bug. Oh no, that's not a... It's a different species. Last night we saw several red cross shield bugs. This is, I think it's called Bonazza. The genus is Bonazza. The species name is escaping me, but it's another type of shield bug. I think maybe the common name for it is burgundy and green shield bug. But I'll check that out. Here's a nice one. Don't know if I'm going to be able to remember the name, but it's a another common moth that feeds on apples. We're standing right beside an apple tree. Sorry, a lot of these insects are going to look dark. It's because I can't override any of the exposure settings on the iPad, and because everything's on a white sheet, it wants to make the insects a bit too dark. Of course, all cameras want to make everything sort of a neutral gray color. So if you have a large amount of white, it's going to make everything darker than it should be. If you can zoom in, if I could get this to focus closer, it would be better light. I can, sorry for all the movement here. I was watching back the stream from last night, thinking some people must be getting seasick watching this. Sorry, I'm just trying to zoom back out here. A gray leaf roller we saw many of last night. Zoomed in, so that's the Lintner's Gluphisia that we saw a bit earlier. Excuse me, I have a June bug about to crawl onto my beard. Oh. Who's this? That's a northern fin prominent. This fellow. Clearly doesn't like the light. Northern finned prominent. Okay, let me try again to get this iPad to zoom out. Can't seem to get anything to come up on my screen. I don't even know if we're still live. I don't know if there's anyone there. I don't see the comments anymore. That's a white-banded tooth carpet. White-banded tooth carpet moth. And this one looks familiar, but I don't recall the name. Powdered bigwing. Some kind of a micro moth. Who's up here? See, the camera's doing the opposite here. Because the shingles are so dark, it's making everything light. This moth is actually quite a bit darker. It's in the genus Lucania, but I'm not sure what species that is. I'm just going to have to, I just can't get the iPad to zoom out. It's sort of stuck on zoomed in, and I don't see, there's nothing, I can't bring anything up on the screen. So I don't know if we're still connected. I don't know if there's anyone there. The only thing I can think of doing is to shut off the iPad and turn it back on. And I'm going to do that. If I lose the stream, I'll try to start another one right away. So hang in there. I'm just going to shut it off. I managed to get the let me just check here. 11:15. Ginger, Bill, Alyssa, anyone there? Just send an okay if you could. Ginger, you okay? You can hear me. Alyssa, great, thanks. Sorry about the interruption. I have no idea why that happened. Hopefully it won't happen again. And just now, a sphinx moth flew in. We'll see if we can look at it. Looks like it could be the same species as last night. A one-eyed sphinx. I'll see if I can convince it to show a bit of its hind wing. We want to look for one large eye spot on the hind wing and some pink at the base of the hind wing. If you'll show us, I think you can see a bit of the pink right now. Usually when you see a moth flapping its wings rapidly like that, it means they're about to take off. You can see the pink, beautiful pink in the hind wing. I'll have to check the ID on that one, but I think it's the one-eyed sphinx, same species we saw last night. This is mottled gray carpet again. Lots of tiny moths. I the nail on my index finger is 13 millimeters wide. So this is about 9 millimeters long. What's this here? It's an interesting looking beetle. I think it's a species of fungus beetle. Pretty small. There are a lot of species of fungus beetle, and I think many of them do live in fungus or feed on fungus, fungi like mushrooms. There's a flame-shouldered dart. Here's a, oh, that's a powdered bigwing. Yeah, that's a neat beetle. Getting a few raindrops. Hopefully it won't start pouring. Let me check the shingles here again. Gray-banded leaf roller we looked at earlier. Here's the sphinx moth back again. It's actually on the iPad right now. Sorry. Siri was trying to shut down the iPad here. This is a small micro moth called the little cloud. Its common name, little cloud. In the genus Ancillus. Ichneumon wasp, one of many hundreds of species we have in New Brunswick and many thousands in North America. I think that's a sharp-angled carpet moth. Yeah, the small bird-dropping moth that we saw last night was a real treat. I've only seen those a few times. It's pretty rare in New Brunswick, and I probably have more records than everybody else combined. For some reason, they like my yard. There's another moth in the same genus. This is what are these called? These beetles that only have half and a elytra. Their elytra only go down part way. Gosh, there's a Carabidae, a ground beetle. There's a small click beetle of some kind. Gosh, there's so many tiny insects, tiny beetles. If you were here last night, you probably noticed that I have a newer sheet, a cleaner sheet tonight than last night. Caddisfly just went under the light. This is a leafhopper, the bright green, the small green one there. I love leafhoppers. I photographed about 50 species of them at the lights here, but I think there are over 200 species known from New Brunswick. Yeah, leafhoppers are all colors of the rainbow. They're really, really brilliantly colored, but they're so tiny most people ignore them or don't see them, don't notice them. To make a real effort to see them. They are really attracted to ultraviolet light, so I see quite a few of them just around the edge of this fluorescent. This is a fluorescent ultraviolet light here, just a 15 watt. Kind of like a fluorescent light you would put under a counter or something. Get these at hardware stores for $30, $35. And I have a much brighter ultraviolet light over here, which is 50 watts. But it's an LED ultraviolet light. And I'm not really convinced that it attracts a lot of insects. I think the smaller light, the fluorescent one, attracts more. There's a moth hiding up here. So overexposed by the iPad that I'm not sure what it is. Oh, here's a nice moth here. That's one I've seen many times, but the name is escaping me, like so many. Here's an arched hooktip with his wings open. We saw one earlier that had its wings closed. Ooh, I just heard a sora. A migrating sora. Ooh, here's a tiny moth. Look at this little one. Good night, Bill. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks, Bill, if you're still there. Thanks for sending some new subscribers my way. I've had a kind of a surge of new subscribers in the last couple of days, and I suspect you have something to do with that. Although I'm not sure, but I know you do promote our channel a lot on your channel, so thanks ever so much. You're spreading the word, Alyssa. I think you are. You're doing a great job of it. We've had 10 new subscribers in the last couple of days, which is a lot more than we're used to getting. So a white-banded tooth carpet, June bug, gray, a mottled gray carpet. A nice little micro moth there of some kind. What are you doing here? I don't recognize that. What's underneath here too? Oh, that's the four-spotted gluphisia. A nice ground beetle up here, a couple of them, and nice green iridescence on them. Orange legs. Four-spotted gluphisia, yes. Who's hiding under here? June bugs. Hiding under our light. Oh, there's a... This is another Nicophorus. This one is Surinamensis is the genus, is the species name. There's this beautiful iridescent green ground beetle with orange legs. And get some more color out of it here. Changing the angle. All right, there's a number of things hiding underneath this light. Got to be careful. Careful when I put it back. Don't want to squash anybody. Okay, let's take one more look around here. Here's the big sexton beetle, Microphorus surinamensis. It does have actually some indistinct orange spots at near the tips of the elytra. You might see like 3 faint orange spots near the tip on each side. That's the one you tried to rescue this morning, Ginger. Great. That's the moth we looked at earlier. It feeds on apple, and I can't remember the name. Moths like to hide. So if you have folds in your sheet, like I do, it's always good to check. Well, here's a nice green blackberry looper, like we saw last night. Or it seems awfully dark to my eye, but maybe it isn't. Here's that nice shield bug again. This is the one I think is called burgundy and green shield bug. Okay, sorry, I had a couple of June bugs on my chin. Alyssa, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. I thought I'd take advantage of the warm night. We're in for a long, cold, wet spell, and you probably are in Bangor as well. Looks like 10 days of below normal temperatures and a lot of rain coming in the next week or so. We've got about 100 millimeters lined up here for, I think, the next 5 days. So I probably won't be doing any moth streams for a while. I tried twice today to get the bird feeder stream going, and I had to quit both times. My cell phone couldn't handle the heat. It was about 90 degrees Fahrenheit here, and my phone would only run for a few minutes, and then it would overheat and shut down. So I didn't really do any streaming today. But I'll be streaming tomorrow, even in the rain. A nice ichneumon wasp. When you see ichneumon wasps with pale bands on their antenna, like this one, it tells you it's a female. Only the females have pale bands on their antenna. Looks like another aquatic beetle. Even aquatic beetles have to leave the water, fly around sometimes, looking for a new pool of water until they get interrupted by my lights, which I shut off, of course, as soon as I finish here. Wish I could get a little more light on the beetles. The beetles are especially dark. There's an arched hook tip. It's a micro moth in the genus Ancellus we saw last night. That is a brown lacewing. Lacewings are a separate group of insects. That's an ichneumon wasp of some kind right there. Yeah, brown lacewing. there's a large group of brown lacewings that are difficult to identify the species, and there are also green lacewings are in a separate family or order. Pug moth. It's an interesting beetle there. Again, the elytra are very short. Oh, they're called rove beetles. Those small beetles that have very short elytra. Rove beetles, that's the family they're in, a huge family. So leafhopper there, the green one. Nicely marked micro moth, cochillid of some kind. Rove, R-O-V-E. Not sure what this, I don't think this is a white-banded tooth carpet, and I don't think it's a sharp-angled carpet, so it's another species. I think it's common. I think it's what I see a lot, but I just don't remember the name. Gosh, I wish we had a moth expert watching. I could pull names out of the air. It's a little tiny moth. I don't dare zoom in on anything because I'm afraid I won't be able to get the iPad to zoom out again. Now this is a forage, called a forage looper. They're really common on lawns, especially. Yeah, it would be great if Leonard could be with us, but I understand it's 3 o'clock in the morning in the UK. Probably closer to 4 o'clock in the morning now. Forage looper. Oh, this is a variable carpet. Variable carpet moth. Those dark crescents out towards the end of the wings are a really good field mark. Variable carpet moth, yes. There's a little cloud again. Who's this? Gotta see you. This side. Gosh. I think this might be an oak beauty. See if I can somehow pull it so that we could see it well from above. Wow, beautiful. Yeah, I'm not quite sure this is an oak beauty. We do have red oaks here. I don't see these very often, but I know they're common in New Brunswick. Nice. Here's a new micro moth. Oh, he flew away. There he is. Now he flew again. I don't know if he's going to settle down now. This little obscure thing here is called the bog biberambla. Biberambla is the genus that they're in. And they frequent bogs. This is, don't know. Camera doesn't want to focus and it seems quite worn. Beautiful pattern on this crane fly, on his wings. The oak beauty again. I just can't stop looking. There's a new one here. Gosh, this is really a common moth in the summertime, but I'm not going to be able to pull up the name. I just feel like there's a blockage there. Anyway, I'll identify that one easily. Beautiful little micro moth. Leaf hopper. That's bog biberambla again. Good night, Ginger. Thanks so much for being here and all your help typing things out as I mumble away. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, Ginger. Oh, before you go, you should look at this one if you're still there. This little pink and yellow one is called the primrose moth. It's tiny. Not very common in New Brunswick. Feeds on evening primrose, which we have a lot of in our yard. I wish we could get a little more light, but it's essentially yellow and pink. Let's see if I can get better light, maybe on this side. Hi, Mary. We're just looking at a few moths here. It's about midnight here in New Brunswick. Well, there's a little cucumber beetle. Hiding in the light. Yeah, there's our primrose moth in better light. This thing is tiny. I'll show you my index finger in a moment here if I can do it without disturbing. So my index, the nail, my fingernail on my index finger is 13 millimeters wide. So this moth would be 8 or 9 millimeters long. There's a cute little wasp of some kind there. There's a fly that's crawled up onto my finger. I don't recognize. This is a gray leaf roller. Yeah, these primrose moths are beautiful. They're so tiny, most people never see them. They're actually not very common. They feed on evening primrose. Oh, there's a neat looking beetle. Wow. Who's this one here? No, this is a gray banded leaf roller. And, oh yeah, we looked at this one earlier. A common moth that I just can't pull up the name tonight. I think the genus is Hypa, H-Y-P-P-A. Just going to do one more quick look around. I've said that about 5 times now. Here's our oak beauty again. Nice feathery antenna. I know so much about moths. Well, I don't really know that much, but I've been photographing them here in my yard since I moved to this house in 2015. Actually, I moved here in 2014, but I didn't start looking at moths until the following year. So starting in June of 2015, lots of June bugs here. Starting in June of 2015, for the next 5 or 6 years, I was outside every night from April till November. And when I say every night, I mean every night. Unless it was really pouring rain. I was outside photographing moths for a couple of hours. From like 10 o'clock to midnight. Occasionally 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Really good nights. And over that time period, I photographed about 1,080 species of moths. Many of them I was able to identify by using internet resources like Moth Photographers Group. It's the best site on the internet for moth identification. Bug Guide is another good site for moths. And I had a field guide. There's a pretty good field guide in the Peterson series to moths of northeastern North America. There's also a Peterson field guide to the moths of southeastern North America. That's quite new and really up to date, and an excellent guide just came out a couple of years ago. The one for our area, the northeastern North America Peterson guide. Came out about 25 years ago, I think. This is a little cloud called the little cloud ancillus moth. All right, I've been around the sheet about 20 times now, so I think I've seen pretty much everything that's here, although new things do come and go all the time. And I hear my dog barking back at the house. I'll just back up here to show you the setup here. Just an old shed with a white sheet on over top of a wooden frame that's about 4 feet by 4 feet, leaning on a shed wall. Just a white cotton sheet clipped on to make it tight, and 15-watt ultraviolet fluorescent light. You can buy it at a hardware store for $30. And up here is a 50-watt ultraviolet LED light. Which I was saying earlier, I'm not convinced it works as good as the small one. And just a conventional light in this old pole lamp that I bought at a yard sale for $2. And the supports for the frame for the moth sheet are old broken hockey sticks. So can't see much, it's pretty dark, but I do have a floodlight here pointing up at the apple tree. You can see there's an apple tree that's flowering at the moment. Just flowered in the last couple of days. Another old shed there. You can kind of, sort of, see the moon through the clouds up there. And over there. We do have some neighbors across the road, but the house right across the road from us hasn't been occupied for a couple of years. There's a street light out there on the road, but it's a great area to attract moths. So I think I'll call it a night. Been streaming for a little over 1 hour, 1 hour and 5 minutes to be exact. Thanks very much. Glad you could drop by, Mary. And I plan to do a number of moth watch streams. It's going to be really cold and rainy, so I probably won't be doing any for a while. But eventually summer will get here. We had, today was one of the hottest days I've ever experienced. It got into the low 90s Fahrenheit here. And tomorrow I think the high is supposed to be like 50 degrees, and then the next day the high is going to be like 45. And we have lots of rain coming every day for the next 5 or 6 days, like half an inch of rain every day. But we certainly need rain. There's some serious forest fires in Nova Scotia next door. We have one also in southwestern New Brunswick that needs some rain. All right, take care. Thanks for dropping in. And I'll be doing my usual bird stream tomorrow. I wasn't able to do it today for the first time in a long time because it was so hot my phone couldn't handle the heat. It kept shutting down. But that won't be a problem for the next while. So we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.